Perfect. I'll love to.
Good show. All right, so it's Sam and Michael and Lara, and we're looking at website 1. And yes, so as I was just saying, thinking of carrying on with the things that we were on Friday, I was just adding some notes to the ticket about diagnosing the memory leak, which we've had on website 1 for a while. And so we kind of got to the point where we were optimistic that upgrading the new relic gem might do us some good. But I believe when we reviewed the 2 instances, one with the new relic gem and one without, on Friday, we saw critical memory errors on both. So we started to look at some other issues, which were, I believe, how much memory each gem was using, and also the number of concurrent workers, which are 2 items that Hiroku was pointing out. And I wonder if do I still have that? I think this is right. This is in fact the article about the different things that we could be looking at. So there's a number of different things to be trying, and they're talking here about specifically for Ruby. So one of which is this the concurrency of the workers. Now I'm not sure. Well, let's maybe go through these one at a time. That's a different project. So one of these, website 1 here. Let's go into the config, the Puma config. So what we looked at, what we saw on Friday, was that we've got the number of Puma workers defaulting to 3, but it can be overridden by the environment variable for Puma workers, which on production seems to be 1 at the moment.
Right.
Which raises the question why we're on Puma. I guess that in my mind I was just thinking, so for these Heroku, are they over here? I'm logged out of all these Heroku instances. Let's just close those and get back in. Okay, let's get back into the Heroku dashboard. Because so we have this. We were working with these automatically deployed pull requests. I wonder if I can find one of them. PR, it'll be website 1. There we go, like so. And so these automatically deployed pull requests, I'll just look at the settings separately because it does put a sensitive Slack key in there. What does it say about? We called it Puma workers. Right. So in fact, the Puma workers environment variable is not being set for this, the pull request automated deploy, which means that it's not like, so, and this is the set of things that's there. It means it's not necessarily such a good replica of what we're experiencing on production. In principle, this instance, these pull request instances would have 3 workers on them.
Huh. Okay.
So then, particularly after our experience last week with Agile Bot and that difference of the Redis instance between the production and the staging, I would say that if we're going to carry on investigating, like we're trying to, debug this on, not on production, we makes sense that we just need to replicate the production environment variables as closely as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Makes me just want to look at the website 1 develop instance and see there. I can find out. I'm just doing this off screen again because of sensitive variables. If it has a Puma workers setting, and it also does not. It would be nice to, for those kinds of settings, to try and ensure some harmony between the different developed, staging, and production. kind of thing that Figaro might have. So on staging has 2 Puma workers. And just double check again that I was right about production having been set to 1. Right, let's just do it over here. Puma workers 1, yes. Well, I guess what I would probably want to do there, we're on that upgrade new relic branch there. The 1172, let's have a look at branch minus A, another one A, that's good branch. The 1172, I mean, new relic has now been actually merged in. Check out 172. I did have some. Right, and I think I had pushed some more changes. That what we will need here really to continue working on this is to be updated to the develop branch. But by the way, Lara, if you do want to start pulling some code out or what have you, be able to look other things up, do feel free to fork and clone this website 1 instance. That's where everything is.
Okay, great.
Good stuff. So I'm just putting down the latest developers. Raoul merged in quite a few changes on Friday, but actually one of which here I have some misgivings about, but we'll leave that to one side for the moment. So let's. I mean, I guess actually, in some ways, if we're trying to debug production, maybe what we should really be doing is checking out master, which is on production, and then branching off there is investigate memory issues. Minus B. Okay. Now I find myself in the situation that I sort of want to do the thing that I did by hand with AgileBot last week, which is pull all the set of production variables, or at least some of them, off production. I guess the thing what I will do, maybe rather than trying to get into automate that, I'm just going to look through the variables that we have. So we don't set air brake. I don't know where it gets the. I'm also slightly confused because I don't know where some of these. So we've only got these non-sensitive variables in the app.json, which is very sensible. But as I was mentioning to you on Friday, Michael, some of the we have like some Slack keys and so on that are somehow getting into. I guess I wonder if what it does is it replicates the development environment, and then it applies these on top of that. That might make sense. If that were the case,
right? Okay.
Yeah, I guess we should. I mean, that would make sense. I guess we should maybe double check that by looking at. So this is that one there. Let's have a look at. So we've got Heroku automated PR deploys. Review apps, yes. Okay. Review apps on the code only get broadcast in a complete disposable app environment. That's what we've got set up. And now what do they say about environment variables? Yes. Inherent from the parent app. Yes. Yes, entries that do not have a value will be copied from the env of parent apps to review apps. For example, let me see. Right. So we've got required. I'm not sure what the required means. Oh, okay. So I guess if we require it. Oh, I see. Okay. So I was thinking that these are all like set to be true. This is saying basically run the app and grab all of these things from the development environment settings, and if it's not there, then fail the deploy.
Right. Okay.
That's very interesting.
Huh. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when I was looking at this and seeing some differences, I wasn't really focusing on the required, and I was thinking, I don't know, it was like enable notifications. I thought this was like notifications are enabled, and in fact, they maybe, but it'll
you specify that key. I think. Yeah.
well, yeah, it means that the key value pair that we have on develop will get copied over.
Right.
Right. Okay. And so I'm looking through. So there's certain things here. The environment. We're not copying over the Agile bot URL, which I mean for testing purposes, I think we probably should.
Okay.
So and then we've got the Agile. There's the Airbrake API key and the Airbrake project ID. Which, I mean, again, I think to the extent that we're trying to replicate the environment as precisely as possible, I would say these things should be coming over. And then we separately have the issue about the difference between develop and production. So we've got build pack URI was in there. I've now got it in the wrong place and lost the Agile bot URL. I mean, this is sort of a little tedious thing there. While I do that, and I think that we can all be looking at this, the different options in here. I mean, the other things that we've got are, so we've got the Puma workers, which we only seem to have one of. So the Puma worker killer seems, I mean, that may still be potentially valuable. There's this. I was going to be investigating. The thing I was thinking about before we looked at the Puma workers here, Michael, was, is there a way to get derailed to sort these the sizes of the gems kind of correctly?
Okay.
That might be something to look at.
Help. What does it say?
Derailed. But yeah, you could maybe run that. I'm just thinking about us while I'm copying over this key thing. I'm just thinking about us. You know, we can. You might look at that while I get this key thing over. And the other thing we could be doing is assuming that confirms that I was just writing it down. What's it called here? Yeah, that it confirms that the nearest time zone gem is the largest one. We could try doing a pull request that removed that gem.
You didn't push your branch.
No, not yet. I haven't finished making the changes to it, and maybe, you know, these things should be tested. I guess in actually doing any of the testing, we should bring the branch and the settings up to, you know, where it matches the you know, where oh god, what does it do? Where it actually matches the production, because otherwise we don't know if it's going to really help with production at all. So I can push that up. I could push origin 7.2. investigates. Okay. So that's pushed up. I'm going to finish making sure we've got all of these coming through. It's interesting. I guess it automatically deploys the database, so we don't know that. Enable notifications. Get up key, get secret, G+, G secret, Hangout apps ID, the SendGrid password and username. I think we need those. Not those. Hangout apps ID. Right, SL host. That would need to be dynamically injected actually in order to be correct. Anyway, won't deal with that now. And what Stripe publishable key, Stripe secret key, and Twitter notifications enabled. I've got a viewer as well. Greetings, viewer. Hello, viewer.
That did not seem to have a desired effect.
The derailed, it doesn't have any mechanism for.
No, I mean, I don't know. The branch that you push doesn't have derailed in it, I don't think.
No, I think that I think if you want to grab that stuff, which is trivially minimal, it's on the other 1172 branch, which I think that Raoul already merged in. Like he merged in that branch with just the change to the new relic gem, which is what it was called. And I mean, he merged in a couple of things that I think maybe weren't necessarily. I wasn't thinking that they were going to be merged on Friday, which is something we might need to talk about. But
I don't see it on develop either.
No, no. But if you listen carefully to what I'm saying, I think it's on the 1172 branch that but Raoul merged in before too early. But so potentially it's on the 1172 branch. I mean, although I may not have. Give me a second.
Raoul merged in before you did the.
Right, exactly. Adding more env bars to app.json. Let me push this one up. I mean, it's still conceivable that I've got those bits and pieces, which as I say are very small. On the other, so 1172 upgrade new relic. I mean, I can git push origin 1172 u. There a difference there? Yeah, and that may have been I don't know. Yeah, so I mean, in order to, all that was though was just me adding derailed to the gem file.
Yeah, I'm not getting it at all. So
no, I think it's and because the merge has gone through and so on, I would just.
I honestly don't feel like you have it anywhere on GitHub. But
I think you're probably right that I don't. I think I was just trying to push it here, and I think it was failing because, when Raoul merged the pull request, it squashed the commit thing. And
okay, I don't know.
But as I say, all it requires is adding gem derailed to the gem file. So I think you should feel free to do that locally.
All right, check out develop.
So now I'm looking at the difference between the production settings and the develop settings. No, that's interesting. You have different build pack settings on production and develop.
Yeah, I'm not seeing. I'm actually, let me look at this. Try this.
You want to share your screen?
No.
Okay.
Not at that point right now.
Sure, not a problem. So what we have got.
Huh.
So what we do have set on production is max thread at 2. And we have Puma workers.
Yeah, there's no help. I mean, that when I run derailed help bundle colon mem, it just says uses derailed bundle colon mem. Members, it's not telling me about
Okay, sure. Well, I think it's probably, I mean, visually scanning that thing, it seems like that's the largest gem. So it would be, you know, not unreasonable to remove that gem from the gem file and see if, you know, it can be kind of pulled out and a pull request done without that gem, and then we see if that leads to a, you know, lower memory profile.
I think you've already, well, it was called,
The name of the gem?
yeah, it was called something.
It was called nearest time zone.
Okay. Nearest time zone. So this is a measure of the memory used by gems at the boot time.
Right.
And then you can do objects, which measures the objects created by the gem.
Yeah.
I'm not sure quite. How that works, how that differs.
Well, I wonder if the boot thing is something that the gem itself gets to specify, and then there's like how much it actually uses. But having built gems, that doesn't. Okay. Okay.
Well, I think it's just whatever is loaded into memory when you require it, right? So I assume time zone loads a lot of stuff into memory. Like time zone data, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I was thinking about that over the weekend, and it seemed odd to me that in order to work out the nearest time zone, that you should need that much data.
It's not that much data, really.
Well, I mean, it's much larger amount of data than any of the other gems.
Right, but they're.
Okay, so I think.
I mean, I guess my point is that time zones are not like an algorithmic thing.
No, but it seems like there's
an arbitrary business rule set up by lots of governments.
Sure, but it seems like there's no more than 1,000 different time zones, right?
Right, because all kinds of rules about like when they're in place and.
Yeah, even so, it would seem to me that the rules to describe that. I'm just surprised that the rules to describe that could take up 60 megabytes or even 30 megabytes. I would be surprised that the rules to describe that would take up a megabyte.
Really?
Yeah, but that's my intuition, which may be completely off. Hmm.
Well, you have to remember that it's being loaded into Ruby memory.
Mhm.
It's not just a flat file.
Sure.
So it has all the overhead of being in the VM.
Sure. Even so, I'm still surprised. But that may be because my intuition is way off. But that's
Well, having loaded data into Python, for data science stuff, I can tell you that, what was like 1 MB in a flat file, just loading it into a straight array became like 4 or 5 MB by the time that it
yeah.
was in the
Well, that seems reasonable. It seems to me, and if it was like 4 or 5 times, that's one thing. It seems to me like it's a couple of orders of magnitude of what I would expect. But I think it's probably, we don't need to discuss it further. Let's take the gem out and see if it produces an improvement. So I think I've screwed up my the other thing here. I was trying to do off master, but I guess really. I'm going to maybe restart that. Let's take a copy of it.
So if I take this out, active time, I just comment nearest time zone out. And I do bundle. I do bundle exec. Quit. Run bundle exec cucumber. All right.
Okay.
Quite a few failures. Taking that out resulted in quite a few failures in the suite.
Yeah, I was thinking it was only being used in that functionality that we took out of the users page. And so it may just be legacy tests, as it were, but maybe not. Okay. So I've got that set up to pull in some more environment variables. It's interesting that the derailed thing is analyzing the things in megabytes rather than megabytes. The full description of this derailed thing, it's got a lot of other alternative options.
Okay, so a lot of these failures seem to emanate from the use of this user.rb.
Right.
User.rb 179. Right. So there's a method called generate time zone offset.
Mm-hmm.
Which is calling time zone. Well, so if the user is geocoded,
Mm-hmm.
it then tries to guess the user's time zone based on the geocoding.
Okay. Oh, right. So is another functionality from the gem? It's actually mapping latitude and longitude coordinates to different time zones.
Yes.
Okay.
On line one.
Right. I was thinking it was just relating one time zone to another, but if it's mapping arbitrary locations on the planet to time zones, then that would explain the larger amount of memory. Okay.
So that seems to be
not easily removable for that functionality.
Right. This seems to be all the failures. Right to that. Well, I mean, we are showing the event. I don't know. We're showing the events and time zones.
Yeah.
User's browser.
That's the thing is yeah, like, yeah.
Because when I investigated it, I had looked at that, and not everyone's geocoded. And there's not always a guessed time zone.
No. I mean, I think we now have a scheduled task that's doing geocoding more regularly. But yes, it's interesting that we're trying to guess it based on their location, which is based upon, I guess, the IP address that they're coming in through. Right. You know, it feels like, yeah, to what extent are we? I guess we're maybe using that to display a time zone in the. I mean, it feels like we could, in principle, remove that and just guess it from the browser. Sorry, go on.
We're using it in the members profile, I think.
Right, to show the time zone thing.
To try and impute a time zone to the member.
Right. I just found a way to run the derailed to get just the largest things.
How valuable that is to show the user's time zone.
Yeah, I think that's helpful. But particularly, we could show it by calculating it based upon their browser rather than doing it based upon their imputed location from the from their IP address via that then geocoding lookup. But yeah, certainly the nearest time zone gem. I mean, now I'm looking at this with a cutoff of looking at everything that's greater than 4 megabytes. It makes it fairly clear that nearest time zone is the largest one.
So do you? Oh, where did you get the cutoff?
This is from the. You see what I'm doing here?
No, I mean, where did you find that out?
That's written in the derailed README. The README. I couldn't find a help thing, but the README file on the GitHub has got. It's got a lot of different things. I mean, it also talks about being able to run your app such, with it so that it dumps ongoing performance memory. Yeah. So certainly looks like the nearest time zone is by far and away the largest.
So what we could do is just remove this for testing purposes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think the in terms of the tests, we may need to pend them or something, because it won't deploy to it won't deploy a automated deploy unless the tests pass.
It won't what?
If we do, I mean, we're sort of using the functionality here. I mean, I just put in this pull request. Is this the right one? Yeah, here. And we're using the automated deployment thing as a way to quickly roll the Heroku apps for us. But I think that it won't make these deployments for us unless the tests pass. Obviously, you could force a deployment to a.
Well, what I'm doing is seeing if I can comment out, because there's a before save.
Oh, just comment out the hook. Fair enough.
Yeah, and the method itself. And then see if there's any errors in our suite.
Cool. Yeah. I think whatever works for. We want to quickly assess whether this would lead to an improvement in performance, and then we can.
We're not even.
Yeah.
It may not even be properly tested, so.
Well, quite.
Might be a good thing for us.
In this case. Really. Ironically. Okay. So I've got going on here, I've got a pending deployment which will replicate slightly more closely the environment of production in terms of the number of Puma workers. So that's one thing. There's the I mean, I could be adding the Puma worker killer thing, but I guess we leave that until we've looked at the thing with the same number of Puma workers. So this is the too much memory on boot issue. So we've identified the largest gem, and you're working on. There's then this. I guess we already upgraded that library to the latest version.
Maybe.
Name again. Name is nearest time zone. 0.0.4. Yeah. Appears to be the latest version. Yeah.
So did Armando say anything about
Project scope?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Not.
I don't think they held a meeting on Friday.
In fact, I got back on time, and I was there, and so I had a meeting with Richard and Stacey.
Oh, you held a meeting with her.
In which we were talking about Richard's, the Ruby calisthenics and this and that, and Armando wasn't there. I mean, he checked in with me later on in the day, and I got him to record a new video for the new MOOC, and but he didn't mention Project Scope.
Okay, so there's one failure in the queues. so far.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
See what that is.
What are the other issues? I just want to run this other command.
Okay. Oh.
Go on.
There's a failure with the user presenter.
Mm-hmm.
User presenter. Right. Just comment that out.
Mm-hmm.
See, is there anywhere else where this is mentioned? Find in path nearest. It's coverage. And X.
I'm getting a load of different other stats here, just different ways of slicing and dicing it, but they pretty much all point to nearest time zone as being the chief culprit.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna rerun my cubes. I think I'm fixed them, maybe.
Oh yeah.
So theoretically, this would make the site a little faster and able to stand up under more load.
Hmm. Indeed. So I think if that does pass, what you'll probably want to do is pull in the changes that I've got.
Pull in what?
Pull in the changes that I've got to the app.json, so that when you deploy this, it pulls in the the same number of Puma workers and so on as production. Five. So, Lara, if you've got any questions, do fire away. This is not so much coding as DevOps at the moment, but all part of the modern agile developer. Has to be willing to maintain their code as well as develop it.
Should mute it.
Yeah, and she's maybe away from the keyboard. So I've got the metrics up here for the. This is for the pull request I just put in that's got app.json to include the same number of threads and Puma workers as production. And I think Yeah, I mean, if you were to do git fetch all or just git fetch origin, you could probably cherry pick my change there into your version.
I'm actually still on that branch. I can just dash and pull in.
Oh, well, which branch you're on?
Investigate
Oh,
memory
1172
issues.
investigate memory. Oh, okay. Oh, if you started there, yeah, great.
I'm not sure if I have your latest though.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe just a question of git pull. I've pushed the thing onto there.
Ah, there's one failure. Sucks. Probably related to the actual functionality now. I'll just kill that test. Probably another failure.
I'll be back in a second. Ah. So you haven't managed to make any changes to that alarm?
No. Probably turn it off somehow.
That would be ideal.
Alright. Where is the user list? Uh, 57. Right. You can actually filter for users' time zones on your page.
It's interesting because I thought we couldn't do that anymore. Or at least I thought we removed that functionality.
Huh. Did you?
Well, I thought that was the thing that we took out. We took out that fast search thing, and I thought that was what included. Rather than, you can select in a block and then hit Command/.
Yeah. So there's pass. Now I'm going to run RSpec.
Oh no, we haven't removed the time zone thing. Yeah.
That still works, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking at. I thought that quick search thing that we'd removed.
It's not the same thing.
No, we've got this other one, and that's got a time zone search in it. Right.
So we'd have to hook that up somehow too.
Well, yeah. I mean, just we could have the. I presume we could just hook the whole process of working out the user's time zone up to their browser rather than their IP address.
Right, but also what's populating that list?
This time zone list here in my time zone, wider time zone area. Well, they're just types of searches, aren't
What's
they?
that
But presumably,
time zone area?
I don't think this is like in my time zone is my exact time zone, and then wider time zone area is like plus or minus 2 hours either side of you.
Okay, so that could be recreated.
Yeah.
Given enough rope to hang ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, you know, at the risk of incurring Thomas's consternation, you know, one could remove that on the basis that I'm not aware of anyone having used it to achieve anything particularly. I don't know. I mean, of course, it may be that that's a really useful function that people have used to find other people in their nearby time zone that I'm not aware of. But
X that by respect 226. Yeah, maybe it's just awesome.
that feature,
Yeah.
I think it is quite cool.
And then a herd of turtles will come down on you.
Oh, well, yeah, I think that's something to be said for gradually removing features and then adding back in only the ones that one really needs.
But nobody likes that.
Apart from me. That's why I don't have any friends.
Because they say that you took away all the cool stuff.
That's right.
Because you didn't want to spend time maintaining it.
Indeed.
We're getting a lot of like parameters and all kinds of like garbage.
We are.
In our spec. Yeah.
Yes, there's a time for another cleanup.
So pending is okay, right? Or has that been naughty?
I think pending is if you've pended out some things, that's fine. I
mean,
think for our purposes here, we just wanted as quickly as possible. We wanted the client branch to get well.
Let me look at git log. What's the head of yours? F26?
No, I've got 9705 FA6.
Who cares about those things? 1172. Get memory issues. Why is it giving me a merge commit message?
I don't know.
Did something to it, didn't you?
I didn't think I'd pushed anything else up.
Come on. All right, git checkout 1172. Remove. What the hell is this thing called?
We're on. It's investigate.
No, no, I don't. What's the name of the gem we just removed? I'm trying to remember.
It's called nearest time zone.
Nearest. What? Oh, check out. Check 1172. There's time zone. You know, it seems slow today.
Hmm.
It seemed slow lately in the last couple days. Get dash D 172 investigate information. Dash D. Dash D. Oh, yeah. All right, so I push that, and then I'll open up pull request with it.
Mm-hmm.
The hell is going on with this? Why is this going back so far?
Okay. Well, possibly because I initially made it a I cloned it from master because I was thinking we should be if we're investigating production issues on master, then we should be working for the master code base. And then I was like, oh crap, that's going to create really, really huge pull requests with all these different things. We want it, okay. And I just backed out from that, and
And you backed out,
and then I did it from develop.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where you got the inability to just pull it straight out, because you'd got my copy based on master.
Yeah, you need to stop doing this. So what should I do with this? Just throw it out?
Well, I think you can leave the pull request there. If I was in your situation, what I would do there is I would I'd come back to my command line. And I would check out develop. And I would do git branch -d, whichever is the 1172 remove nearest time zone. And then I would do git fetch origin.
No. It said errored out.
Capital D.
So I'm deleting my local branch.
Right. And then I would git fetch origin, put you on develop. And then I would do git check out the 1172 _ investigate memory issues. and then I would do git checkout minus b 1172 removing nearest time zone, the same name as the branch we just deleted. And then I would do git cherry pick and take the commit ID of the which you can see on the behind you in the browser. If we investigate removing this,
back into what do I have to get into?
no, I think you can stay there where you are.
And it's going to cherry pick it into.
You can cherry pick it, like, so. Having created a commit, I think it still exists. So if you go back, you don't have to have the cherry pick. It doesn't have to, like, the space of all the commits that are there are still there. It doesn't matter which branch you're on. So if you go to the browser window that you've got behind the terminal window,
I understand that.
Then you can see that it says it's 408.414b. So you could cherry pick that. I think it's got a hyphen. Yeah.
And you think that isn't it's already in this branch?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not in your local one, because we just created that as a clone copy of the what I've got locally. So I think if you just hit return there, that'll add that there. So now if you do git push minus F, and then the name of this branch, so that's 1172 underscore remove nearest time zone. It needs to be origin before the
git push origin, right?
Yeah, but you need to have the minus F before the. Well, actually, I haven't tried it. I think the minus F has to go in between push and origin, but.
No. Okay, that worked.
Yeah.
We made a local copy of it from your. All right, that's what this was.
Mm-hmm. So I think we kind of. It's then a question of leaving that to bake, so to speak.
Yeah.
I've got a version of why does it do 24 hours ago? Well, anyway, yeah. So this is with the same number of workers as production, and then in a while we'll get, I guess, 1276. We'll have the workers and with the removal of that gem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so we'll compare them later.
Yeah. All right. So do you want to drive on the email thing?
Well, I did just in the background there add. I think we identified that potentially this would all fail because the error would be nil in some cases. Yep. So I put a little guard clause in there and I pushed that up.
Passing.
Let's have a look here, and
it's like semaphores failing.
Reason.
I want to check it and see if it's one of the.
Let's see what's going on there. Cannot load such file. Rails helper load error.
Weird.
I guess there I will. Well, just check that the change was. Yeah, that's the only change there. Okay. BR there. Ah. Cannot load such file. Rails helper. That's weird. Well, I'm getting the same error locally. Admin mailer spec 1 is failing. So I wonder if that's, there's a specs, mailers. Okay. I think probably that's from having, well, that's what, I think that must be from having, I ran a generator. Take that, and I guess it's defaulted to having Rails helper in there, which, and I guess because our spec suite is so old, we don't have a Rails helper in there.
Right.
That's interesting.
Huh. So why did this just come up now?
I'm not sure.
Did you upgrade something?
Not that I'm aware of. And then what's happening here? I'm now getting some kind of key violation. Through a factory girl. I guess now that may be because, let's do rate.
Middle of it or something.
I think it's probably the database has been left in a weird state due to the test suite failing.
I am getting that on my end locally without pulling anything.
Oh, really?
When I run RSpec.
You which one? Which failure? The Postgre or the Rails helper?
The Rails helper.
Okay. I'm now getting the test. The suite is now running for me. Interesting.
It's raining out.
Every
day.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little bit colder here.
It's like in London, basically.
Yeah, we've had quite a warm September in some ways.
I think there's like some storm off the coast.
Oh, yeah.
Julia or something they're saying.
I'm
going to say Julia.
Now, the interesting thing actually is that even with the test failures, it's still deployed. Or at least it looks like it did.
Tropical depression, Julia. To cause.
Well, I'm just looking forward to the nation seeing Hillary.
It's Joe Biden like saying that Hillary is a human being.
That's an assertion.
Essentially.
Indeed.
It's an assertion that some people doubt at this point.
Well, you know, it all comes up to this question of whether any of us really exist. But
well, yeah, but we can prove it. So.
Well, if only we could. Welcome back, Laura. I mentioned earlier, if you do have any questions about anything that we're doing, by all means, fire away.
Well, just looks complicated.
Yes, I was saying before. I think you might have been away from the keyboard. Is yeah. So what we're kind of doing DevOps stuff, which is like, so we've got a legacy app which is encountering memory errors, and so we're just going through a process of investigating it, which seems to involve, as almost everything does, lots of things with Git. But we've put that in the oven. We've got to leave that now to see if some of the changes that we made will lead to an improvement in memory usage. And we've now moved on to actually something that's more programming, which is we're trying to set up a new admin mailer.
Okay. So
that when we do have errors for certain sorts of activities on the site, that it emails us to let us know. And we're just sort of doing a spike of that. And I'm just about to, we were trying to run a test of it, of the spike, on Friday, and it failed due to like a silly error. So if we're, fingers crossed, we've just fixed that. I'm going to now Heroku run Rails console -r_pr. I've got this set up so that I can basically log directly into the deployed instance based on the pull request we have. That's our spike of the new admin mailer. And so I can imprint. I think what we were doing on Friday is we were going to try and just fire off an admin mailer activity. And I was just trying to remember how we do that. So what was this? The thing we were working on Friday was about this Slack invite activity, and here we go. Yes, so here's the code for doing the Slack invites to Agile Ventures. Okay. And so we're just experimenting with having admin mailer send this failed to invite user to Slack. And so we've got in here that, let's say that that's me. It should hopefully now be able to cope with nil. Aha. And that looks like it might have sent an email. Okay.
So you're saying you wanted to acceptance test this, right?
Well, I think that's what we were looking at, and then we were also agreeing that actually in this case, due to those configuration settings that we have, that an acceptance test is somewhat challenging. I think we can come back to that. I guess so what this looks like it should have done here is send an email to support@agileadventures.org, which is what I will hopefully get at some point. And I guess, so we've got this. The other thing that we could do now is back out one step and say, I think we can't call directly. So it's basically it's async. We can do form and then the email. Right. And so this one should also send an error message because we've set it up so that it's checking for
just that it's okay, right? That the response is okay.
Well, actually, I guess right. We're checking. Are we expecting that? We're expecting that to be the return of Boolean, aren't we?
Yes. So if it returns,
in this case,
false, that's gonna
tell us that it failed to invite somebody. I mean, that's still a useful piece of information for us to get as an admin, that somebody who's already got an account is trying to sign up again.
I wonder what the error will look like, though.
Well, that would be interesting to see.
Error, actually.
Hmm.
So there is actually an additional piece of information we can send.
Which is the?
Isn't there like an error?
Oh yeah, yeah. That was the thing we're talking about.
Yep.
Like the actual.
Go back to the terminal.
Yeah, this like
there's an error field. Yeah.
What Slack return?
Yeah.
So there's that. At the moment, I mean, support@agileadventures.org. I guess I'm just going to send an email to that. I did check on Friday, but that was set up. I think I've got it. It goes to me and Raul. I'm not seeing. I mean, right. I guess the other thing. Okay, the send mail things are not set up on this instance. I'm fairly sure. Yeah, because that's what I was just doing on the other branch. Is that the that the app JSON there doesn't contain that. which means no emails can be sent on the on these PRs, which is a good or a bad thing depending on what we're trying to do. Right. Just
well, it did try to send it, we say.
Yes. So that's
probably an indication that as long as Rails and Heroku are working.
Yeah, but it's probably fine. It would be nice to see the email to kind of review how the and so support. Yeah, I'm getting support at agileadventure.org is coming through to me. Fine. So yes.
So there is a question of
now
146. So that actually processed it. I wonder what happens like immediately after async, how that affects it.
Yeah, I don't know.
In the testing environment. Because I know in local support we have a bunch of tests that just check the queue.
Right.
Which is kind of enough.
And I think what we do. I mean,
it's all you can really do in the test environment. You know, if you wanted to test more than that, you'd have to.
Yeah. I think also that actually this doesn't even try and send the email though. This creates the email, but we have to say like deliver now to actually send it. Oh, there we go.
Right.
So that then renders it, and we can see the contents of the thing. So with the following error, and in this case the error is nil, so we don't see anything there.
So we could add that additional information.
We certainly could, and I guess the path of least resistance here, I guess, would be one to well, the path of least resistance basically would just be to sort of unit test the mailer under certain circumstances. I mean, we kind of you know, I'm almost tempted to have a look at the Slack invite job.
I don't understand why you can't just link it in, like
just
go link it.
Mute Lara there, as I think she's dealing with a client in the background. So we've got the Slack invite job spec there. So the spec that we've got at the moment, let's have a look at that. What's it doing? We've got Slack invite job in, right. So we had that to start with. So BR spec jobs Slack invite job RSpec. Let's run that, and that gives us okay. So the Slack invite job sends a post request to invite the user to Slack and returns the proper response. When Slack response not okay, it should notify the admin, and when attempt errors, we should notify admin. I guess that's when attempt fails. So right, and at the moment, okay, yeah, so we're expecting admin mailer to receive this with an email and the error. I guess the other thing is that we should be,
and we can unit test the mailer itself.
We can. I was just thinking to maybe finish this thing here first. There's almost, I mean, I kind of like, as it stands, it doesn't check that the mail actually gets sent to the admin mailer. So there's kind of a thing like we want to return another double and check that it gets deliver now is called on it.
Right.
Mm,
Or deliver async or whatever.
yeah. I'm just looking at it because we could do this thing where we check that the chain is called, but then we won't check that these are tested. I wonder if we can have a combination of, now what's that RSpec? Got RSpec it's called RSpec chain expectations, compound expectations. No, that's not what I want. Is it called stub chain? Working with those message chains, that's it. Yeah, except to receive message chain. Can they do allow there? Yeah, I just wonder if we can use it in parallel. Could I have it set up like this so that admin mailer would receive the message chain and then also check separately that these were specific.
That might set up
To expectation. Yeah. Let's see if that's what it does. And we should see this fail because we're not calling deliver, or did I just add deliver now? Oh, I did it on console, not in the system. Yes. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I sort of expect I can't do this in combination.
Yeah, so you might just want to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just tempted to put on here deliver now, see what that does to it. Yeah. All right. That's not going to work in the way I want. I mean, I guess the thing there is I could have two.
I wouldn't use deliver now, but okay.
No.
Not what people will use anymore, I don't think.
Okay. This is Rails mailer.
Tell you not to block. I mean, it's an option, but I think deliver is now async by default in most cases.
Right. It's like deliver later and deliver now.
Yeah, deliver later returns right away.
Okay.
Deliver now will block and it'll hold the request open, which will put more load on your server.
I guess the extent that we trust the mail queue, that's okay, so deliver later.
So what you could do is have two different tests.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to assert like everything about it. If you go back to it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, so this we could have one test for that, and then another test here. That would be. I mean, we could turn this into a context. I mean, it's a
context attempt fails.
Yeah. Invites fails. And then, so one is that we should, the two different things here are,
we should email admin.
well, it's that I guess both of these things, it's also the, it's when if my attempt fails, it should be notify admin, and then it sends the email later is this chain, and then we've got a second one which is that it includes information about user and error, which is this one. And then, so in that context here, I wonder, can we overwrite the subject? I mean, I think probably sensibly there we can have let response be the, I guess if we can have that be there if we have a before operation, which is to, or we can have that also as a let. Like so, and then so that's really get rid of that. And so both of them need to stop the request and put that out. I'll put that on 2 lines. Still longer than I would like. Okay, so there we go. This is now, let's run the whole context. Okay, so let's look at one of them, one failure. The admin expected 1 times and it did not receive it at all. So the subject that we've got here is the Slack invite job. So we create a new Slack invite job. This response is now not referred to. So that's never called. That's a problem. So basically, actually, rather than that being there, we should just have that in the before block. Like so.
Be in the before block.
Mm-hmm.
I said it can't be in the before block.
Why not?
Because it's going to be before the expectation is set.
Right. Okay. So we're going to need to have, it's
let bang.
I mean, I guess it's sufficiently short that it's.
It needs to go after the expectation is set.
Oh yeah.
Feels like there should be something. I mean, you could do a let bang, but yeah. But then I don't know what order things would actually run in.
Yeah. Well, I think that let or let bang. I think we don't want let bang because I think we could do it as a let. Like we could pull this to be like a single let,
right,
an operation. But for 2 of them, I think there's not such a big win there. I feel like
get rid of email. Or is that still there? It's up top.
What's about? Sorry, say again about email.
Yeah, never mind. It's on 5.
Yeah.
Did it fail? Failed to.
We've got an interesting different sort of. One of them passed and one of them failed. So sends the email later was fine. Oh, okay. So the problem here is that we call to this one. I think it kind of ends up having to have. We have to kind of we're not returning anything here. I don't know if we can do it like that, but basically here, this ends up returning a nil, and then we try to call deliver later on it, so that fails, which is not ideal. But that, I mean, that sort of that's messier than I would like it to be. But anyway, so those are passing. I feel like this is replicated through a number of places and it's a constant. So I kind of want to.
But they would tell you basically the reason for that is that you're being naughty.
The reason for which thing is being naughty?
The reason for that is that you're being naughty with this test. That you're testing things you don't own or mocking things you don't own.
Right.
You're
Yes.
mocking admin mail or API that you don't own.
Indeed, and but that's a.
You're incurring the pain of the message chain, but you can't.
Yes, which is a way of dealing with legacy things. Yes. So for example, if the Rails mailing system changed the thing to be deliver, at some point in the future, this test would still pass and we wouldn't know about it. However, if we use verifying doubles, that addresses. I don't know, the whole thing for that whole book about that is that they don't have access to verifying doubles. Yes, it's a question about whether. I mean, I could rewrite this so that it returns something, and then we check that deliver later was called on it.
Right, but you're also not. You're not able to change the code. Right.
You mean that we're locking to a particular?
No, I mean that you're. The thing is that by mocking, like I want to understand the point of mocking is that you design the interface you wish you had.
Right.
Until it feels good.
Right.
On the premise that you can then actually implement that code. Based on the feedback that you get, you change the interface.
Well, I think that
good.
In that book of test driving object-oriented code, yes, what they're saying is I think that mocking is one mechanism for you for doing that, and
that
if you're doing it with somebody else's code,
then you don't.
The pain that you feel doesn't allow you to
so
refactor the interface to make it different.
It's bad then.
Right, which is why one might prefer an acceptance test at the much higher level to just check that it works end to end.
Or an integration test.
Right.
So their suggestion is that you write a layer,
Right, and we could write a layer on top of this to extract that out and make it become a single thing to isolate ourselves from this aspect of the Rails interface.
Like you could write a.
Yeah, we could just have another method that we check that that's called, and then that method is tested with an integration test that it adds something to the mail queue. Indeed.
Correct. That's the quote unquote proper way of doing this. According to.
Well, according to the people who are working largely in Java, where they don't have certain benefits.
Well, I mean, it depends on how much you want to buy into the TDD Kool-Aid.
Sure.
That you should design the interface with TDD. I mean, if you're DHH, you think that's all
right.
Bull anyway. Because DHH thinks it's all poetry anyway.
Well, that's clearly true. And why have I lost it from there? Right. Yeah, I mean, other things. But it's interesting whether one chooses to focus on that, or we could say, well, this Slack invite job, we should be doing dependency injection for admin mailer. We've locked our implementation of this to this Slack invite job to operate on the Rails admin mailer.
Right.
And so with all of these different heuristics, the interesting thing comes down to, right, there are all of these best practices. Which are the ones that we, do we subscribe to all of them? Do we prioritize them in one order or another? In the first instance, I wanted to at least have some check that we are following the way that the Rails operation, particularly in the absence of an acceptance test that will check that. So I think, and following I'm only going to write a book called Drive By Coding. I don't know, is that too aggressive? I think that what we would sensibly do is open a ticket which talks about refactoring that, some layer, over the top of this to remove the dependency of this test on the particular aspects of the way in which the admin mailer works.
Right.
And in fact, dependency injection might help that as well. But probably I'm thinking what we should focus on. Well, they've got this test now fails to test aspects of that. I mean, it would be difficult for this. I think this one will also fail in the same way here. So we kind of need to refactor it in a similar way. Maybe this is doing too many things. I was thinking of squeezing in, like, what I'm tempted to do just at the code level is slap in an or JSON response error in here.
Right.
Include that error if there is any. But I guess maybe what I should do is I should focus on one thing, which is making sure that the deliver later is there, and then having that the second thing is having the
someone's asking me to find the greatest common denominator for the divisor.
The greatest common denominator is a mathematical one.
Divisor, greatest common divisor. I told him that there's a well-known algorithm by Euclid. And that you can probably find many implementations of it on the internet.
Yes. Yes, so that fails, and as I suspected it would do. And that's because we need this to be similarly refactored. So what was not okay should notify admin. So we have the context there. Basically, it's basically the same, isn't it? So we don't need the error anymore in that one. Probably easiest to just do that in this context. Yeah, and we're not expecting it to raise an error. We're expecting it to return body like so. So the dot should go there, or it should go there. The dot there highlights fact that you're calling that. There we go. So then we expected to send the email later, which is the message chain. And then
he's trying to find, he's an accountant that's trying to find the causal relationship. Now he tells me the truth.
okay.
The causal relationship between variable costs and hours worked. And I told him that's not an exact problem, that's a regression problem. You can't just divide numbers and expect that they exist.
That there'll always be a.
Oh, he said no. Now he's telling me it's actually for his schoolwork. So it's exact, even if in real life it doesn't.
Right.
Why are you involving me in your trivial school?
Okay. So got this. Right. Well, I'm going to push this up. Test to check when mail is delivered. Okay. So I think that's probably a good time to switch there.
Right.
Go on.
Where did you get to?
Well, I just finished. I mean, the only change that I made to the app code was to have this deliver later, which I guess is the minimum thing to wrap this up as something that would just go in as a single pull request. And I just adjusted the test so that they are fully checking for that. So, I mean, I think we do have an open pull request on that. I mean, in principle, that could be, was that failing? Oh, it needs to be developed as well. Will you give me end up giving me a, I don't want to do that. Don't do that. No, don't do that. I guess I will do that. Okay. Because the merge operation will get squashed in later on, so whatever. Okay. Yeah. Is that? Can I push that up? I'm thinking about it now. Okay. So there seems to be that there's a number of other things that could be done there. It's an interesting question which ones we think would be required. So one is that we could add a unit test for the admin mailer. We could also have integration test.
So we've identified that this probably comes down to some domain knowledge of accounting, which I do not possess.
Okay.
And then you should go find someone who does possess that knowledge.
Mailer dependency. Invite to avoid need for watching. We've also got adjust settings to allow for acceptance test.
Why does that keep doing that? Clicking.
I think, is that your Slack?
Yes.
I think you've got Slack audio settings. It might need to be adjusted.
Anyway. So, where did you get up to with this?
So,
did you put the other error in? Like
yes,
you did.
Well, no, I did not. I did not do that. Okay. I focused on getting all of the tests to work with the single change that I made. So then there's another thing in there for showing Slack error messages. So I'm not saying that all of these need to be done. I'm just saying here that these are all of the sort of related tasks that we've kind of referred to, and
probably the error messages should be put in.
It's sort of deliberately misleading without them. So I think it would be dangerous to deploy it without that.
Do that now.
Yeah, so you could immediately work on that.
Right, I'm going to pull that down.
Okay.
Why is GitHub taking so long?
There's then other sorts of tests that we could write. There's a couple of refactorings that could be done, and then there's the bigger level acceptance tests. And I think it's an interesting question. Which of the? Oh, look, you can reorder them. Or can you? Or can you? It's got a little thing. I don't know what that's for. Anyway, I think in our drive-by coding style, it would be rather than trying to get all of these done before we push this out, we want to work out which is the subset to do up front and which is the subset to push off to other tasks and open other tickets, perhaps. I'm going to go and grab some tea. Your screen share has just come back on. I'll be back in a few minutes.
I'll work on the other specs.
You mean the other error messages?
Yes.
Oh look, I can reorder these in. Cool. Back in a moment.
That's not it. Job, slacking by job. Right. Slacking by job. Job. So what we should do. Mm.
Hey.
Okay. Let me look this up. So what is the actual key for that?
It's error.
Just error is the key, right?
Seems to be.
Okay. Um, right. So I'm checking this out. See what this says. Right. No. Response error. So what is this like body stuff?
There. Well, that's the context. That's what comes back from the Slack third-party endpoint.
There's actually a body key too.
Well, I think that we're using webmock there, and that's the way that we tell it to put that into the body of the HTTP response rather than in the headers.
So I'm just wondering, what is this failing? 56. Oh, right. So this is failing because it's getting nil. Yeah, it's getting nil. Oh, I see. I see what it is, what the error is. I need to move this down there.
I think it also needs to be JSON underscore. Yeah, you got it.
There we go. Run, and then we'll run with them. Define method. $17. Oh, right, and then it's the same issue again. It's not returning the right thing anymore. Right. Nasty. We got to parse it, then we got to pluck that thing out.
Right.
Then we got to return it,
Mm-hmm.
like the whole thing. So there we go. All right, so all those are passing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we don't have a spec yet, so let's go in here. And we actually Slack error.
See, now the thing there is, rather than creating that additional Slack error message, the way I was thinking of doing it was just like passing in the single error. Like passing in like in the case where we have actually got a Slack error message, we haven't got a other kind of error. It's nil.
Yeah, but they're treated differently inside the.
Well, I was thinking they don't need to be, because we have the well. Well, carry on. No, carry on. Go doing your way if you prefer it that way.
I mean, they're treated differently, right?
Well,
the backtrace call.
Right, which we've got, set up now to. I guess it doesn't make the backtrace call if it's nil. I mean, it could be switched over to be try statements. It's fine. I think you should just carry on doing it how you like it.
I mean, we could do it that way, I guess, with some like error. Like you'd have to do error guarding code,
right? Which is maybe not the right. I would say you've started and you've already written some code having two things. Faster to move forward in the direction that you've started on.
and then we actually go into mailer. That won't, nothing there will be tested. So we could just push that. And you can manually test it.
Yes, could be done. Yeah, I mean,
All right, pushing it now.
Mm-hmm. Other thing that I'm thinking about is the suggestion from Avdi Grimm that we shouldn't be doing nil checks. Which is sort of tentative coding, and he promotes confident coding, where we
I have his book on that.
Yeah, do something else.
I haven't read it all of it yet. But...
Yeah, I've started going through the Ruby Book Club podcasts, which start on that.
Confident Ruby or something.
Say again, Confident Ruby. Yeah.
Confident Ruby. I have that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, cool. So we've got a thing for showing Slack error messages.
Only on Kindle, or it's only like an ebook form, not on paper.
I was thinking of doing some sort of Ruby mob, or doing some mob programming sessions based on the Ruby Book Club. So just running those tests locally. No, right. I don't know. That's ridiculous.
Time zone broke in semaphore.
Did it?
For some reason.
It may not matter, actually, because it seems to deploy the PR independently of whether the things break or not.
Edit project broke.
I
think it's just... Can't tell. Oh, it does just deploy anyway?
Yes, that's what I worked out afterwards. Or at least I think it does. I might be wrong about that. Can you see, does it say in the branch, does it say that it deployed? Let's go and look at the branches myself as well, because of this one.
Yes, it did. It says it's deployed.
Yes, I mean, it says it deploys. I wonder if it means that if it's the deployment.
You could look at Heroku and...
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of assuming, like, so here, I mean, this, I'm looking here at the deployment relative to the thing that we've just been working on, the Slack invite admin email thing. And so just by the way that it orders this here, and it says, right, we deployed, I mean, and it's that seems to imply that this is now included. Yeah, and as you say, we could check on the. All right, so what I'm tempted to do here is, just in case this has got its old code, is drop out of there, reconnect to it. Do I have a window over here that has the? I think I do, which has 1275. That's the investigate the memory issues one. I try and pull out the 1274, which is, I think, okay, that's there. So in principle there, I can try this operation. I don't know. Right. And it's spat out the already invited information there.
Right, yeah. So it looks good.
So that's, it's
not like beautifully formatted, but
indeed, but it's certainly a reasonable place to start. It seems like it's difficult for us to. No, I think right.
well, you're really the only one getting these emails, so who cares?
Indeed. Well, there's also Raoul, but we're both very flexible people. I was just thinking we should actually be able to. The thing that was failing on Friday. Where's it gone? If I just did that one there, oh, we have to go back or further up. Yeah. I can, in principle, test this with a put like standard error new boom a nil. Okay. Oh, I've done it the wrong way around, have I? Huh. It's still tried there. Undefined method join for nil class. Okay. And so that fix on here. Right, so the error can be not nil, but the backtrace. So this is, it kind of needs to be and error backtrace here. Okay. Well, the preponderance of errors there are making me think that, coming back to this, although I'm kind of skeptical of the value of the unit test for checking, like the way we have it in local support is the unit test for the admin mailer like checks who it's going to and from and this, that, and the other. But I think in terms of like rendering the template in the different formats, that makes it seem sensible that we write this unit test, particularly since we've got this number of different logical conditions. I'm just gonna take a layer off.
What? Oh.
God. I mean, the interesting thing about this thing that I'm hearing from, there's a suggestion that we shouldn't, that this is a lack of confidence in our code, that somehow there should be a better way, that what they were saying in the podcast was that both this and doing this
Right.
are equally lacking in confidence, and what we should be, and there's maybe some other way that things could be done such that there was, yeah. I mean, I wonder if this is a case of there being too much logic in our views. Anyway, that aside, I think we've got a unit test here for our admin mailer, and so I guess going to local support to just look at what was the format of these admin mail things. What are the specs for there? Spec, admin mailer spec here. So we have a context. Okay, we just have a subject and then, yeah, we just call the, okay. So
we have a trickle here, premium.
Choose.
So if we have a context here, which is,
so the
go on.
So yeah, is he or she like a new sign up, or was it part of the boot camp?
Lara is just graduated from Craft Academy Bootcamp, and yes, and has got Agile Ventures Premium membership as a consequence.
Right.
And Lara, I think you're based in South Africa, is that right?
Yeah, I'm in South Africa.
So you're kind of like 1 hour ahead of me. Well, I'm in London.
Your clocks haven't turned yet, have they?
No, we're in UTC +1 at the moment. And
yeah.
Michael's in UTC -4. He's somewhere near Philadelphia.
Okay, cool.
So I think here I can do subject mailer, and then so I mean, and we can see here exactly the stuff that I've been spiking on the command line. We want to do something like this. There. So admin mailer, some email. That's an error. We don't have a JSON thing. So, and then we can see we asked, right? Oh, okay. Oh, that's a reasonable test there. I'm tempted to just grab that directly, but expect subject deliver now to change actual meta base delivery length by 1. I don't know if there's single line things, but so it sends a mail. Right, and then I can talk about the subject. We can expect these things. Now, I wonder actually there if we can just, even with that one, we can capture problems. So if I leave the you go over there. Go, everybody else, go away, go away. Right. We should have that.
I think.
Go on.
You could write a template spec.
Yeah. That's always a possibility. I'm just interested here if this by itself will generate that error.
Right.
So if we come back to our local system here, and we can do BE RSpec and spec mailer spec. Yeah, admin. RSpec's very slow to load. It's kind of irritating. Maybe we should be trying to get set up with guard. Yeah, so we encounter the error.
It looks good. You can just generate those errors.
So I guess I mean, in some ways, arguably what we have here is too much code in our view.
Right. Should be like a persona or something, but.
Well, so there's one, yeah, we could be combining it with a presenter, or we could be, the operation could be inside So we've got the admin mailer itself. We could be formatting here to say, what the backtrace is.
Yeah, right. That would be kind of.
Would that be messier? You'd prefer the presenter?
I mean, sorry.
It moves our. I mean, the
It moves the error from out of the template. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in the first instance, it's just a question of like, let's move the error out of the view. I mean, I think the thing about a presenter, we don't have all this logic.
Yeah.
The presenter, the thing gets called from the thing. I mean, the interesting thing that I'm kind of on here is, what's the confident mechanism of doing this?
Well, what I read was Avdi Grimm. At least he was working with like library classes in the chapter I read.
Right.
Where like, what was it? I'm trying to remember what it was. He also has his own little library for it.
Yeah. Well, there's always thing about having the null object or the nil object. Yeah. I mean, I think maybe sensibly. I don't know. I mean, this ends up looking. I mean, if we want stuff to be available, and we don't actually need the backtrace to be available there.
You have that book?
I have parts of it. I have the free elements of it. I need to buy it so I can.
I have it.
Yeah.
Where is it at though? Kindle cloudreader.kindle.com. Cloud Reader Amazon.com.
I'm thinking at least what might make this
go to confidently.
And then I guess here we've got, I want this to be like trace. I think in the first instance.
So,
go on.
I mean, what he doesn't, like his one thing is reject unworkable values with preconditions.
Right.
Like he doesn't say that you, like he has a method called def do for typin.
Mm-hmm.
And it reads a add or access or higher date. And if higher date is missing, then it raises an error immediately. So that's the one. But I think part of his idea is that not necessarily that you avoid all
checks,
but that you clearly. Now I remember, like he says, like it's a good story gets rid of those things early on,
right?
Interrupting the narrative flow.
Yes.
So it's a partial question of where in the code.
Yes. So I think then I'm feeling good about
part of it, yeah. And then there's other things that he mentions, like with the base library, there's all these little like Ruby guru tricks of like, oh, when you're using this, you can you can treat these values the same or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
really,
I'm feeling
that's like really down in the weeds with Ruby though. Like a lot of this.
Yeah.
His like his suggestions. Yeah, because I'm looking at the book right now, and that's one patterns.
Yeah, so I think that makes sense in this case here.
Use transparent adapters to gradually introduce abstraction. Class has many pre-existing dependencies on specific types of collaborators, making the introduction of adapters difficult. Make adapter objects transparent delegators to the objects they adapt, easing the transition to a more decoupled design. The rationale is to improve the separation of concerns in our code. It's a more approachable problem if accomplished at one tiny step at a time.
Yes, I think I hear what he's saying.
Right, so he has like an he has like an example where you have a logging class that collaborates with an IRC bot, which only supports the pipette operator, like the concatenation operator, to pass messages in. And he says, because of this, we might have to audit every method for its interaction with those types of syncs. If we lack a comprehensive test suite, we might miss cases that only show up in production.
Wants me to indent it, these things like here. Okay. Yes, I think I am grooving to that. All right, we'll do that if you want. So I've just thrown in a bit of extra formatting to make it clear what these different things are. But so I'm feeling like in that sense, what we're doing now is rather than handing objects that might be in any sort of different state to the template, what we've done here is I've added effectively a little way of doing these checks in the admin mailer in a private method, and just making sure that, if we're going to send a backtrace object, then let's make sure that we can do that based upon what we've received from whoever's asking us to send these messages.
Right. So what he does is I mean, you can read it, but yeah.
I certainly will do. But I'm thinking that this, this makes sense. I mean, and there may be better ways to do this and to this, that, and the other. But in this case, basically, we want to just make sure that the template renders. And so, I've broken that out into a separate method so we can still effectively. I mean, what I do get slightly irritated about long bits of code like this that are just mapping arguments to. I did write some things that would automate that, but it's kind of silly. Anyway, I shouldn't get too bothered about it. But so that is now parting. The only thing that we're checking is that, I mean, this is kind of at the level of a integration test, in that it checks the admin thing and it checks the. We've got. This was the thing when I was looking at the admin tests and thinking, well, do we care so much about testing all of these things? Like the subject line is precisely one thing, and it's going to and from this, that, and the other person.
Yeah, so there's apparently in Ruby's library, there's a thing called delegate class. you can inherit from. That
Indeed, I've used it, I believe.
Lets you define a method, and then anything that you don't define delegates to the thing that you.
I know it well. I have enjoyed using it.
And he's saying that's a good way to work towards pulling out tricky dependencies.
Yes, yes, I've used that a few times. It's nice. So for in that context, we would be able to, you know, have this. We could instead we've got this little set of things here. They could be an object, and then it would delegate the calls to those things. Of course, the way that ERB works is different. Anyway,
yeah,
we've got a very small unit test for the admin mailer. We haven't got an integration test that could do. Could have an integration test that would combine these two things. I guess actually here, I don't know how it would work with the deliver later. I would say, based on the time, that probably what I should certainly do is this is like so unit test for admin mailer and more robust display. So you could have that, and we could kind of conduct a
review
manual test of it. We could also have a little look at the code. But yes, that could almost go to review for Raoul, and we could say that these 4 things should go into other tickets.
Okay.
So
Semaphore. Cucumber.
History for me. Okay, so I could now do here. Interesting. I think it hasn't deployed that code yet. All right, fair enough.
And the test passed.
On your side?
Yeah.
Cool. Looking at the it's interesting. I'm just looking at, well, so that's there. I guess the other thing I was going to test here was that this didn't blow up like this. So this is, let's pass in a. So if it hasn't deployed yet, no, it hasn't. No, okay, so that hasn't deployed. We can't check that yet. So while we're waiting for that to deploy, I've got here the stuff we were working on earlier in terms of the memory levels. Now, this one that I pushed up to is the investigate memory issues that replicates the production setup with 2 threads and 1 worker. And that's staying at a much lower memory level, at least for the time that it's been up. Interestingly, the one for this is with you having removed the nearest time zone gem. It's similar, but it is less. We can see that the
average is less.
Yeah.
What's the average on the other one? Significantly less average.
Yeah. I mean, this one's been running for longer. It does seem to be an improvement, though. Yeah.
So you have just 1 Puma thread.
Just have what, sorry?
You just have 1 Puma thread with that, right?
This is 1 Puma worker and 2 threads.
So that means it can process 2 requests simultaneously?
Perhaps. I think we would have to investigate further into Puma about the meanings of the different things.
What was it before, like 4?
It would have been, so before, when we were doing the PRs and we were looking at this, it would have been 3 workers and potentially 16 threads.
Wow. So that's a lot.
Yeah.
You need a much bigger.
Yeah, instance to support that. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, I think we're definitely getting some useful information there. I think clearly the next step is just to leave that running overnight and come back to it and see what those what the averages are after 24 hours.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So potentially then, that brief detour, we could come back here and have a little look at this again. Yes, let's put that there. Aha. Interesting. So interestingly, it does not actually display, I guess, the process of actually just that error message. It said like the standard error new to boom, like we would, I guess, do we have to call message on that to actually get the message that returns that?
Does it make sense for us to use Docker and just deploy straight to AWS?
It's a good question. Or DigitalOcean, or I was this morning looking at what are our alternatives to Heroku.
Right.
Certainly there are lots of people interested in Docker. It's hot. We've got the thing that the MOOC is still currently, tied to Heroku, but it would make sense for us to, for example, do a WSO Docker deploy to DigitalOcean, AWS, to assess our costs.
Right. See what it costs and how much of a hassle it is. And
exactly.
People are saying, "Oh, once you get Docker set up, it's wonderful. It's kumbaya." Although Marion says testing in Docker is like a nightmare. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, really?
So trying to get errors out of Docker is like a nightmare.
That's good to know. Yes, well, we have an interesting open question about our next step. I've just identified a problem here in the code. Hmm. 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 Right. I think the thing I do want to add there is, because I've got a test there that tests for that Slack invite errors. We've got one thing there. This is a context of a Ruby error. We've also got the situation where we have a
So
API.
are we actually using the free tier now on the review app?
I hope so.
Should we dare check?
We certainly do, because Heroku's being slow at responding from its management level. Okay, so I'm here in this one. Overview.
I'm sure they're going to be slow to give you your money back.
I'm sure. The superficial answer to that would appear to be no.
No, it's not working.
Well, the Dino formation still says $7 a month here. I assume, although
No.
I mean, you could check that the app.json is updated in the 1172 remove nearest time zone.
Let me look. 1172 remove nearest time zone.
Mm.
So the app.json. How do I actually get to the? Formation web quantity 1 size free is updated.
So that's being ignored then, unless.
So how is it working for local support?
Well, there seems to be there's different, because local support is deployed on my NeuroGrid limited thing. Oh well, at least is the develop branch? Is it? Let's see. I mean, that's even it's not actually for the. If I look at the apps I've got here, the develop. Yeah, I mean, good grief. Did I push that up? I did. Okay. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I'm kind of giving Heroku like time to have a few cycles on these things, but like basically, if I wake up tomorrow and I haven't heard anything, I think I have to say to them, look, this is kind of unacceptable. That I'm not getting any emails about this. I discover this browsing the thing. Much as we love Heroku, it's just GitHub has experienced service issues. Pipeline activity may be interrupted. All right. But so we've got Heroku. So I see. Interesting. I think that the review apps are not being created automatically on local support. From the look of that, I mean, I think both the organizational function and the review app function on Heroku is still sort of a bit beta-ish in terms of how it operates.
Okay.
Which is why it's particularly frustrating to end up paying for it. Yes, it's a bit ridiculous, really. I'm doing this manual testing of this and then tweaking my unit tests. Definitely feels like there's a sensible kind of See, I was in this context, I was expecting it to have boom there for me. It hasn't.
Yeah, it's saying there's errors in there. Error scaling dynos. Heroku teams only support hobby and professional dynos. View the log.
That's in the
pipeline
for
develop
local support or website one.
Website one.
Right.
There's errors in there saying, "Oh, you're not allowed to do that."
Okay.
But then it's deploying it anyway, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want you to have free apps when you're in org.
Right. Well, and I'm just so here. I'm gonna having said that. Having said that.
Hi, Christina.
Hey, can you chat?
Yeah, sure.
How are you?
Okay. So having said that, have I lost the? Having said this, it feels like it's easy to lose. I guess I can. What I want to see here, if this one is, that was like it's already invited, let's say.
Yeah, what about it?
Here we should have contains error message in body. So expect mailer expect mailer body to include, and I can do the string or contain. That's the one, I think. See that, and then it should just. I mean, this is the thing that I've just established for. Yes. Well, I've been chastised there by the system.
What?
Well, like I was kind of like, oh, well, this, the admin menu is so simple, I can't do it wrong, as whatever. Actually, if I'd been writing down up front, like what are the things that are actually important to me about how this thing operates, then what do you do for like? Let's try that. Say match. Spec string partial match. What do we do these days for this? Is it string? Do we use include for a string? Oh, it is include. If I'd sort of written down up front like what the things were that were important to me, then I could have answered. I mean, I guess it's although ironically the process of just running it was allowed me to work out what was important to me about what was going on. Either way. So that ends up being the other side of this. The admin main spec itself, it's kind of an integration spec there. Yeah. This is ensures error message in emails with tests. 2 viewers, hello, our 2 viewers. Join our Slack instance if you want to ask questions. You can get us a free invite at agileVentures.org. You can sign up there. Okay. Yes, I mean, obviously we've got AWS and DigitalOcean as IaaS alternatives to Heroku. It's interesting. What have we got? Any other? Are there any platform as a service alternatives to Heroku? I mean, obviously we went with Ninefold for a while, and then they folded.
Yeah.
What was this question on? Engine Yard Cloud App Fog. This is also years and years ago.
And Engine Yard's still around, I think.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, let's go back over to here. But so that admin inviting thing becomes possibly reviewable by Raoul if this latest check works.
And how much does an AWS?
Not deployed yet.
Yeah, you're basically running on a nano instance at 500 megabytes, which costs 0.65 cents per hour.
Yeah, I mean, we need to run one in parallel to see.
Depends what month you're in, too.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I wanted to see.
So if you were in March, you'd be paying $4.84 to run the instance.
Per month.
Yes, for just that. Now you also have like if you're on AWS, how do you get your email service and stuff?
Oh, well, that's all, you know.
There's like an add-on account for that, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a free tier that offers 62,000 messages a month. It's probably more than enough for our needs.
Yeah, I would have said so.
And AWS Postgre, probably they offer some kind of service for just a Postgre account.
Right. Huh. And I'm actually getting some emails now through with the about the Slack invite failed. So that's sort of a traceable on the end-to-end. Yeah. Okay.
So Amazon RDS manages complex and time-consuming administrative tasks such as PostgreSQL, software installation, and upgrades. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the path of smaller resistance basically would be just to drag everything out of the Agile Ventures. I mean, really, what I should do, I guess, tomorrow, if I haven't heard from Heroku, is transfer all of the instances into my own individual account and scale the dynos back. Because otherwise, it's just silly waste of money. Okay, so we've got something basic working there. I guess they would they be part of the same thing? I guess I'll just create a single ticket here, which is additional testing and refactoring for invite fail alerts. I'll take from, I've lost it now, from here. Take that set of those and stick them in here. That's coming from. Okay. Yeah, so I'm a little surprised that we're getting emails actually sent through, because I sort of thought I didn't think that we yet had the SendGrid thing set up on these things. Since we don't have SendGrid set up on the built testing or locally. I'm not sure where those emails came from. Anyway, let's add that. We've got that ticket in. I can put in this. This is the pull request. I'll put in the please check. So we can have a look at our. Oh, really? Are you saying that's failed to update? Don't do that. Issues. Has it not created it? Kidding me? No, it has. Okay, we'll go away then. So in principle, That's please check. The diagnosing memory leak continues. That's ongoing.
Hmm.
Oh, God. Come on, Waffle. I hope we can move over to this GitHub own solution before too long.
So they now, for RDS, they also have a, whether you want to sign up for a term contract
Mm-hmm.
and get like a year term, and then you get so much savings.
All right.
Commit to a 3-year term with RDS.
Mm-hmm.
You get a 53% savings.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, that's up front. Right.
So it's like Waffle's down.
Go on.
Waffle is giving me an application error.
I mean, how much are we paying for the database?
We're paying like £7 a month for the database.
$7 a month?
Yeah, so sorry, $7 a month.
Interesting. So I think you'd end up paying more on Amazon on that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Hmm.
You were using the RDS service.
Yeah,
I thought you were paying more than that. I thought that was like the most expensive.
I was paying more than that, but I managed to roll it back just to $7, I think. We were on like a $50 one, and that was too much, and I got it down to a lower one. Okay. Well, Waffle is down.
Production is actually in here. It's in NeuroGrid, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the interesting thing would be to try moving some of these into NeuroGrid, if they had and see what the effect of that is. Well, we've made some progress on 2 tickets there. That's really annoying that Waffle's down. This is here. So now, but so we've got this. Have you seen? We've got this new projects thing from GitHub, which gives us like a Kanban board. But kind of, I was sort of hoping that the tickets would just like kind of be pulled in,
like a waffle. They're not.
But they're, yeah. It seems like it's got the option for us to add a card. But so I guess the issues get pulled in one by one. So I mean, click the, what is it? I don't know. I can add notes there. And that, no, I drag it, do I? Oh, there we go. Okay. Right. I don't know if it supports. It may not be as fully featured as. Right. It may not do some of the things that Waffle does, like attaching things. Oh, right. Yeah. So Raoul ended up getting some of these emails. So hold on. I'm in here. Oh, we have 3 votes. Okay.
But are they in disagreement?
No, I think they're actually unanimous.
So we can declare it?
I think we can. Required in.
Now all we need to do is write an app to do this.
Indeed, we do.
Feels like we can have Slack bot do it,
Yeah.
or Agile bot do it.
Indeed. Well, and I had some feedback. I mean, I'm gradually going and contacting more and more Agile Ventures people. I had some feedback about how important it was to have, non-Rails projects. So
Non-Rails projects.
Oh, well, I think someone was saying, "Oh, yes, I want to get more involved in Agile Ventures," but like, oh, I'm more interested in. I think it seems. I think it's definitely to our advantage to have active Node, React project and Node and React projects. I'm feeling.
Right.
Okay.
But you always want to kill them off.
Well, I always want to do. I mean, the whole concept is of Agile Ventures of doing the stuff that delivers the, what the customer desires. But
Right.
as we reorient ourselves slightly to say, well,
the customer is actually the.
Well, it's also the people who want to work on the project. So if sufficient number of people want to work on those projects, then even if conceivably Node is
Slower.
is maybe a less efficient system to use to deliver a particular service as part of the bigger picture, if that's what lots of people want to work on, then we lose out by not having it. It doesn't mean that we can't start a different Node project. But, yeah. Anyway, go on.
What about Elixir?
Yeah, that too. I think it makes sense to be on lots of hot stuff.
And Golang.
Yeah. Well, we had John build a whole project in that with Brian at one point that we have. Yeah. I mean, I think that the key thing is to we need to have some of these alternate technologies delivering key services to rather than them being hobby projects on the side. Anyway, I'm just going to break briefly, and I'll maybe see you in the scrum. Yeah. Right. So, Lara, are you still there? You're muted at the moment.
Because it's going to be an expensive walk and it's not something I can afford right now.
Well, you see, what I want to suggest is that they must.
All right. Sounds like Lara's in the middle of something. We'll maybe see Lara in the scrum as well. All right. Bye for now.